I believe we need to continue setting economic development goals that encourage high-end investment in our community to help bring up the standard of living. This means more collaboration between the city and the private sector.
My goals for the city related to Vision 2040 are to continue the momentum that is already in motion. Of the many wonderful initiatives listed, here are a few that resonate the most with me. Developing policies to support Faribault's role in Destination Medical Center, promoting and celebrating Faribault as a diverse and inclusive community by planning and promoting a culturally diverse marketplace that includes foods, gifts, and arts from diverse cultures, seniors, the schools for the deaf and blind, and others, and work with community organizations and businesses to develop and implement a plan that strengthens public places in the downtown. The goals of Vision 2040 provide a very exciting glimpse into the future of Faribault while still maintaining the core values that truly make Faribault unique.
Well, as I mentioned before, I'm a 4-year resident in the town, and again, we aim to make this our forever home, our forever town. So therefore, I'm real excited that we even have a commission, a 2040. At the end of the day, we're looking to move to progress in that direction, and with hopefully a common goal in mind for everybody. So I had to do some research on it because I didn't even really know one existed, and when I did look into it, one thing that stood out to me where I would really stand out and really want to help get to that goal is the preservation of our charm, our historical preservation. Downtown is extremely inviting. It can be extremely inviting. Sometimes it's just dead as a doornail, but that's Minnesota and it's 4 seasons. At the end of the day, though, there's so much opportunity down there, and I see a lot of growth. I see some rehab. I see, again, there's other stuff that's being built now as well. And I think if we're careful and selective as to what in that downtown sector will draw people to that area as a community. Hey, I'm one for meat raffles and I'm one for bingos as well, but that usually happens at a bar. How's that good for a family? Unless you win the bingo every time. Okay? At the end of the day, I mean, let's bring people down as families to the area of all walks of life. Let's bring them down into that section. But also, I do know that Faribault is just not one street. And Central, as charming as it may be, and it has a little bit of something for everybody, it could have so much more. And I want that to be part of it. And the other portion of the 2040 project, or Vision 2040, is we're a river town. We need to act like it. We have this great river that runs through it. And in the 4 years I've been here, other than my immediate neighbor, I've never seen anybody drop a kayak in the water. I've never seen anybody say, hey, I'm going down to the river. Hey, let's do this. Mind you, I know there's 3 rivers in that area and people do a lot of fishing in there. If I'm ratting anybody out, I apologize if you're not supposed to fish there. But, and I see people fishing off the dam over at the mills. And I see that constantly, but I don't see people in the water. I don't see them getting in there. And there's a reason that other river towns, especially in the Midwest, take off because they act like a river town. They build around that river. They build around that water. Look at Stillwater. I don't mean to be giving kudos to any other town. We have our own character, our own charm, and I know that we can go the distance if we really start stepping it up around that river, wherever it goes through, and we have a chance to do it.
Vision 2040 is only valuable if we actually use it to guide our decisions. One thing that I really appreciate about the plan is that it recognizes something that I've been talking about throughout my entire campaign, and that's our infrastructure. Roads, water systems, utilities, and our public facilities are not the most exciting topics, but they affect our daily lives and are the things that support everything else that we want to do here in town. If elected, I would like to see these priorities move to the front of the line. Before we take on additional projects or services, we need to be maintaining and investing in the things that we already have. Taking care of aging infrastructure isn't always exciting, but ignoring it is going to cost us a lot more in the long run. I want to ensure that the decisions that we're making remain consistent with what our community members help to create in this vision, and that's balancing our growth, our fiscal responsibility, and our quality of life while thinking about the long-term impacts on our future generations.
Vision 2040, looking over that, it's a great plan on paper. Some interesting things I noted: we have already exceeded the population for Faribault that they expected it to be in 2040. So the city is growing faster than they had anticipated. With that in mind, I acknowledge the need for parks and community centers, things like that. But we also have to be smart with our money. We can build all these nice parks and take on a bunch of debt, and then nobody can afford to live here. And the people who can afford to live here, there's just not much for them to enjoy. So we have to be very careful as we're looking to 2040 and beyond. Certainly I want nice facilities. I want nice places that we can all go with our families. But we have to be responsible with our money first. And so my guiding principle is not a document outlining here's where we want to be in 2040. My guiding principle is how are we being responsible with the money that the city is bringing in.
Our Vision 2040 has served us well for the past 12 years. However, in the time since this framework was created, our community has changed significantly. Our world experienced the COVID pandemic, and we have new challenges around healthcare access, affordability, and artificial intelligence. I believe it's time for a thoughtful refresh of our city's Vision 2040, evaluating our progress, updating goals and initiatives, and ensuring all our other city plans are aligned and driving us forward. I'm committed to turning this long-term vision into steady, practical progress through collaboration and accountable leadership. Thank you.
So as I mentioned, the biggest things I want to see is if we're continuing to expand our business growth opportunity, really looking at what the future of what our economy is looking at right now. Frankly, Vision 2040 being written, I believe it was in 2015, had a lot of huge aspirational goals. I think we can see right now that maybe some of those goals aren't going to be fully attainable or might not be the goals that actually help to build for the future that we should be kind of preparing for. I work in technology. I am a project manager who works in software development. The very real reality is, I think many people are seeing it right now, is artificial intelligence is removing a lot of the jobs that were left over from the last manufacturing craze that got moved overseas, right? We're seeing a lot of jobs that are being replaced, less skilled option jobs, but jobs that people still have very frequently worked within our community, which are things like call centers, customer service positions, are being replaced very frequently and are going to be replaced even more frequently in the near future by simply computers. I don't like this. But there's also that potential where we just don't have the opportunity for that. So if I'm looking at Vision 2040, I'm really focused on how do we make sure that we have job opportunities for things like manufacturing, which our city is very good at, but how do we continue that growth? How do we make sure that when we have those manufacturing jobs that we have the right skilled or necessary labor to do that? Again, that ties into our local education opportunities, whether that's the high school or the local unions or trade centers and or the college, to provide the necessary skills for our future generations to be prepared to be very manual focused or manual labor focused. And then as far as, other career opportunities or education purposes, right, making sure that if we are going to have our white collar jobs or our blue collar jobs, that we have the right amount of those opportunities within Faribault as we look at a changing dynamic future. And I think that's one thing that Vision 2040 maybe did not account for, but wasn't really prepared for what that growth is going to look like by 2040, we have to kind of prepare and insulate our community for what might be a very different economic future, and a kind of concerning one, frankly, which is part of why I'm running, is to hopefully provide some of that insight in regards to how do we prepare for a world of technology that is rapidly changing, and even at a local scale, what we can do to help people kind of transition into what that might look to in the future.
My goals for the city relating to the Vision 2040, I love that the city is working toward improving all three areas, the parks, the downtown, and the overall plan all at once. For parks, I want to see continued paved trails connecting with Riverbend, connecting different parts of the city, and connecting downtown especially. I also think they need to be ADA compliant to accommodate for those with disabilities and connect our deaf and blind communities in a greater way. For the downtown plan, I live downtown. I love the downtown, and I want to see them continue with that plan. I also love the Riverside parks, the splash parks continue to improve the whole Riverside front there. I think an idea would be like connecting with the railroad and seeing if they want to do a depot, a passenger stop here. I think it would be really fun downtown, connecting again with bike trails, especially connecting the new apartment complexes downtown with the downtown.
I plan to utilize Community Vision 2040's core values and strategic priorities as a guiding compass for city decisions as its creation intended. I fully support projects that preserve the integrity of the city and align with our historic charter and natural amenities. I will work to attract and retain businesses that provide jobs, strengthen our tax base, and promote tourism. I plan to ensure that community plans, ordinances, and services are in the best interest of the community and that they do not necessarily discourage or hinder success. I will work to enhance collaboration between city sectors, residents, small businesses, and developers, and to streamline joint efforts where and when appropriate. I will remain open to new ideas, new ways of thinking, and new opportunities to strengthen our economy and enhance our quality of life.